Okay, so I'm gonna make a couple things that I have left over to make for the cosplay for my comic inspired Hellboy, and that will be at the beginning of the video, and the actual full cosplay and me in it will be at the end. So if you want, skip ahead. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so I didn't want to make a light up cigarette. I don't know why in my mind making a cigar is better. But in the film, the first Hellboy, anyways, and Hellboy: The Golden Army, he smokes cigars. And in the comics, with cigarettes, I didn't want to do a fake cigarette, or so I leave it out or do something else. So I decided to do a light up cigar, and I just took a flashlight, and you'll notice that the LEDs have been turned red. I did that with a Sharpie, and then I wrapped it in electrical tape. And just to kind of start off by giving it the shape, and then I have some foam here that I've been basically wrapping around it and gradually trimming to fit. And next I'm going to go ahead and glue my foam onto it. Okay, so I have wrapped this in the foam, and I use 3mm, but you can use 5 or 2 or whatever. I think 2 would even be thick enough for doing some sanding, which I did do. Once I glued the seam here, I sanded it down. Of course, you notice it's not straight. It doesn't have to be, because it's supposed to look like the remnants of a rolled tobacco leaf filled with tobacco, a cigar. And you'll notice, excuse me, you'll notice these kind of like veiny sections. All I did was heat it up with my heat gun and then squeeze it in my hand. And my palm print basically went into it to kind of make it look like leaf veins on it. And that's the best I could come up with for that. Oh, and I sanded this end down a little bit too to round it off. But yeah, that way if I want, I can click it on, click it off. And what I'm going to do is mask this off so I can seal it and paint it. And separately, I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to use for the tip, but I'm going to use cotton or something that I can paint black so it looks like, well, gray, actually, grayish black, so it looks like a ash. But whenever I light it up, hopefully the red will show through. Alrighty, so I have glued on the cotton, and initially I put a ring of, well, not a ring, but a bead of super glue around the edge here on the top. Tore off a piece of cotton that was the size that I wanted, stuck it in place, allowed it to sit for about a half hour upright, and then I was also very careful not to get any super glue on the inside. And then, just to make sure, let it sit for a half hour. Came back, and then I dripped a little super glue around the edge, and I sprinkled a little bit of baking soda on top of the super glue that I put on the edge here, and the baking soda, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it makes it pretty hard. You know, that's cotton and it's pretty stiff there. But, despite that, whenever you turn it on, you can still see the red light coming through it. So, next, I'm going to take some medium gray transparent airbrush paint, and I'm going to paint up this cotton area here. Okay, so there it is after I've airbrushed the cotton gray. Now, I didn't airbrush it super thick. In fact, you can see a little bit of the white sticking through in some areas, I suppose. But that was intentional. I didn't want to gob paint on it because then it'll be opaque. The light won't shine through it. And I want the light to shine through it whenever I turn it on or off. So you have that contrast, like he's puffing on a cigar. Okay, so I painted the foam after sealing it with some Mod Podge black, and then I went ahead and took some moccasin brown acrylic craft paint and dry brushed that on a couple layers, giving it about an hour and a half in between each coat to dry. May put one more on it, and yeah. And yes, as you saw from that last clip, I did seriously take time to play with my light up cigar prop. Anyways, probably spent way too much time on that. Next, I'm going to make a couple pouches. They're both going to be the same. The pattern that I'm going to upload to Facebook will be the right side. The only difference is it has a more aggressive slope in the front versus the back. And I do mark on there where to start gluing, and I've already marked on mine. You can barely see the mark there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put contact cement along this edge from where my mark starts up until right where this curve ends. I'm going to put contact cement all around this edge here. Then I'm going to put contact cement on the edges of this piece. And I'm going to glue in the sides. They are marked top, bottom, front, back. You should be able to figure it out. And like I said, I'm going to glue on both sides and essentially make a fold-over pouch. Alright, so here it is. Now that I've contact cemented it together, I started by lining up one piece and going around to here. And then I put on the secondary piece. And then I worked one side up to the top on each side. And then just simply rolled it over to adhere it the rest of the way. Then I took my heat gun and I heated up some of this just to help it stay in place so it's not pulling against the contact cement so hard. And this is just big enough that I can stick, a credit card or some money or whatever. If I don't have access to my pockets due to the holster and the right-handed doom and all this other stuff, my fiance can just grab it for me at the convention. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my heat gun and heat and curve this top piece so that once I have my Velcro on it, it'll stay a little better without me having to worry about it flopping open. And there it is with the Velcro. Now I use industrial strength Velcro to make sure that this isn't going to come open and whatever I have in there stays in there. You can see I kind of struggled with it to get it open, but yeah, the industrial strength Velcro works really, really good. And next what I'm going to do is glue with some super glue and some of this polypro strapping. I'm going to make a couple loops for a belt, but you can use anything. You could use the synthetic strapping, or you could use elastic. I got a couple different sizes. Leather if you happen to have some scrap leather pieces, or even some EVA foam strips. Those aren't going to hold up as well as any of these other options, but if that's all you got, it should make it through the day. Alright, I have my straps glued in the back side so I can slide my belt through it. So that's it for the pouch. Oh, and I also didn't show this in the video, whenever I made the blaster, which is in the previous, not blaster, sorry, the prop pistol, the Samaritan, I didn't actually finish the holster. I had started it, but I didn't actually fold the leather all the way around. So here that is. Next what I'm going to go over is some of the props for this that I already have, or that were bought, because I don't do sewing and I don't, well, sometimes I'll sew, but usually just hand stitching and very simple stuff on a sewing machine. For the most part, my fiance does that. So that's all going to be an explanation about what she did. Okay, so first thing is the Samaritan for her Hellboy. I may use this in photos, but what this is a toy gun that has way too many realistic features for me to take to a convention. Like, that's not going to get through security in the slightest, which I would then have to throw it in the trash. And what I did was just add some stuff onto it, like this paper, aluminum foil tube, cardboard tube that I added on there. That's one of them. And then I covered it with super glue and baking soda and sanded it smooth so you wouldn't see the lines as much. And this just painted it way too realistic. So that was her Samaritan and holster. And then jeans, black, no big deal, shoes. This we did not make. We bought this patch from, I believe, Etsy, and then she sewed it onto this coat that we got thrifting. So that's that. And then the pouch I made, and a larger pouch that had already been previously made. And the rosary she made by hand, correctly even. And then the horseshoe that she made and painted. And then of course my Samaritan from the video with the holster. And now only thing is left is to go ahead and throw all this stuff on. Okay, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this series, my Hellboy cosplay, based more so on the comics than the actual film. Now, I did not paint my hand red, mostly because it doesn't come off easily and I have to go to work tomorrow. But the other issue is it's really hot in my house because the AC is broken. They have not come to fix it yet. So you'll notice in the video my hand's kind of red anyways because I'm burning up in that cosplay. It's about 90 in my house right now. So as far as the new film goes, I didn't listen to any reviews or anything. I just went and saw it. I actually went and saw it twice just to get like a solid feel because sometimes the first time, you're just psyched or bummed out or I don't know. I just went and saw it twice. And man, the practical effects in that are amazing. Now, went back after seeing it a few times and the critics really tore it apart and apparently it had commercial failure. When I went and saw it the second time, there was nobody in the theater. But I did enjoy it. It is much more like the comics than the Ron Perlman, Guillermo del Toro Hellboy 1 and 2. A lot more like the comics, although they did change a lot of stuff. And I felt like they did throw a little bit too much in there as far as plot wise. But I mean, it is what it is. And the point is that particular franchise is owned by Mike Mignola. It's not owned by DC Comics. It's owned by Warner Brothers. It's owned by a bunch of CEOs. It's individual creator owned. So if nothing else, I wanted to go see it and support it for just that fact. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this. I did put up the patterns for the pouch on the Facebook page if you want to make some pouches. Of course, you can alter them however you want. Redo it to clasps, put buttons on it, or snap, or fake snaps, or whatever. Make it look like something from a different character, Batman or whoever. But it's a good basis to start from and a pretty simple process to achieve that particular look. So as always, thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And as always, have a great day.